It's time for the percolator. Percolator.
Hey guys, so you might be wondering what myth we're busting. Well, we're busting myth number 4, which is about early American history. So we're thinking, what is this myth? Well, this myth is about the first English inhabitants coming to North America in order to seek religious and political freedom.
So what this basically is saying is that the settlers originally came to America just to seek political and religious freedoms.
Document C is a primary document we received. It's immigrants going into Virginia, and these immigrants are selling them into slavery because when they're young, as you see by the age next to their name, and people only wanted like young, strong people so they'd be able to work for the full 7 years, and they were able to get their money and return back home.
First, let's go back to when slavery was just happening.
I'm ready to sell myself into slavery. I have nothing less to lose. I'm going into America.
Man, I'm working to get my freedom and money.
Yeah, you don't get them freedom, man. You work. I brought you here. You work. You work.
People were poor and had very little money.
It's been over a year. Can I get my land?
I pay my own money to bring you here. No. No.
It's been finally 7 years. May I get my rewards?
Well, you worked off your time. Suppose I got to give you a land, a gun. What was that other thing? I forgot.
Living situations was very bad in England that they were forced to sell themselves into slavery. The reason why they sold themselves into slavery was to afterwards make the profit and return back home. The first settlers weren't seeking religious or political freedom, they were actually seeking profit so they could return with the money for home. And also they named their towns after famous leaders in England.
So Jamestown was actually named after the king, King James I of England. This meant that the settlers that went to North America actually admired their kings and political leaders. They would never have named their town after the king if they left to seek for freedom. They planned on coming back to their hometown. What this myth actually refers to is the second group of settlers called the Puritans, and the Puritans came to North America in order to free themselves from religious and political views, and because they did not admire their king back in England.
The first English settlers were wealthy that came here with their servants to basically, they're seeking profit. They wanted to make money. This myth has been busted, and to restate the myth, it is first English settlers came to seek religious freedom and political freedom, and that's the reason why they came to America. And we know this to be false.
So we derived this piece of evidence from a primary document of Richard Frothin's letter to his mother and father explaining how things were in Jamestown.
They weren't prepared for the conditions of the landscape, which came in a guy named John Smith, because English was frustrated about their loss in profits due to what the people were doing in these unprepared people in America at the time.
It wasn't until a man named John Smith who returned back home and helped these people who were savages, honestly, in Jamestown, who were eating each other's excrement, and they were not able to at all develop and grow crops in these harsh environment, in this harsh soil and harsh weather. So he told them to, he helped people maintain and grow crops, and especially tobacco, which was the cash crop. And he implemented this idea: if man don't work, man don't eat. So people who were helping maintain and grow these crops were working as hard as they can in order to eat.
A secondary resource from a textbook entitled The Planting of English America said that the Virginia East Company was allowed charter from King James to create settlement within the New World and promise of gold and a pathway into the Indies.
The indentured servitude became a thing because people in Great Britain were they were struggling out there, so they decided they would become slaves for 7 years, and then their profits will they will get profit from it too and be able to return to their families. And that's basically one point that shows that The first settlers had nothing to do with religious freedom. They had nothing to do with political freedom. They came here solely to seek profit and nothing else. Okay, a common mistake that most people think about the first group of settlers is that the people that came here in Plymouth and named their colony Massachusetts were the first group of settlers, but that's not true, because the first group of settlers were the people that came here and went to James Fort and later became Jamestown, we all know, was the first group of settlers. The second group of settlers were the people in Plymouth that named their colony Massachusetts, and they came years after those people in James Fort. And that's a reason why we all, like, most people get confused on that topic.
Here at the end of the episode. And in conclusion, guess what? This myth is busted.
Sure is busted. Who took mine?
This myth refers to the second English settlers, which were the Puritans, who left England because they did not support the ideas of England. And for the first English settlers, such as the ones in Jamestown, they went to North America to make a profit, then returned back home. And the ones who didn't served their years of indentured servitude and were granted their own piece of land. And even though the settlers, English settlers in Jamestown, named their town after their king, which shows that they really approved the ideas, or they really admired the king. Alright, this has been another episode of Mythbusters. Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
You took my gun. You took my gun. You took it. I know you did. Where's my gun? Where?